All right, welcome back to Impact of Vision with Leadership Part 3. Yes, there's going to be a Part 4 to this. I'm just telling you right now. This is not an easy series. This is not an easy actual, approach on things. This is actually very difficult because you're taking the high road and you're pushing forward in an approach that most are not willing to take. So this is very, very difficult to do. However, with that all being said, let's proceed. So looking back in the last 6 months, 6 years, 6 decades, whatever it might be, or even in the last 5 months, 4 years, 32 years, I don't know. The reality is when you look behind and what have you learned, what have you reflected on, what have you actually absorbed in saying, this is where I was, this is where I am, this is where I'm led to, this is what I've done, this is what has led me here because I've learned from that, and this is how I'm going to approach the future and achieve it because of everything that has been in my past, how I've dealt with it in my present, and then it's prepping me up for my future. See, this is just the way into those things where the credibility of a vision is determined by its leader. You are leading your life. You're leading potentially an organization. You're leading a department. You're leading someone even right beside you, even if you don't want to accept the fact that you actually do have impressions on people that are around you consistently, and unfortunately might be in a longer time frame that you would like. Whenever there's friction, you rub off on each other. That's just the way how we are as people. The acceptance of a vision is determined by the timing of its presentation. What you're trying to do, is it actually in the right timing of execution? Is everything lined up so that you're able to achieve it in a very approachable manner, that it's not just a dream, or it's not just like, okay, I have a vision and this is what's going to happen. No, you have to be able to accept two things. The vision, is this actually what you're called to be doing? And the other thing is the timing of the presentation. Are those that are around me that it's going to impact, are they actually going to accept it? Are they actually going to absorb it? Okay. The value of the vision is determined by the energy and the direction it gives. So how much of a charismatic, enthusiastic passion is behind your vision? Is it actually going to be delivered well? Is it going to be actually potentially executed well with those that you entrust it with? You see, the evaluation of a vision is determined by the commitment level of the people being led. So whenever you're thinking that you have everything in place, that might not be the case. Why? Because are you leading them the way how they need to be led? Are you actually accepting people in the areas of not only their strengths, but also in their weaknesses? You have to be able to understand that we all are a very, very fluid type of a rhythmatic type of pace in our own way, with our own style. So we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and yet we can still execute things differently on an approach manner and still get the job done. It's kind of like how everyone writes differently, or how you see athletes all try and achieve the same goal, but they have their own touch to it. Okay, there's many different ways to approach this. See, the success of a vision is determined by its ownership by both the leader and the people. Because if you see the vision, or if you see that next phase of delivering on what we're going to be doing next, if everything is actually choreographed, done in such a manner that it is well executed in the deliverable, it'll probably be accepted very heartfelt ways, in the manner of people will say, I'm going to actually take ownership of this. This, I can believe it. I think we can actually achieve this. We're actually going to do well at this. And that's how you move into looking around you. Notice what is happening to others and around yourself. You see, you can look in many different areas of life, and you can see many times when people have seen potential signs that things are actually happening around them, and they've picked it up, and then they adjusted, adapted, and executed, and now they're still pushing forward in an upward manner. But yet you see the impact that they have and left behind has been absolutely tremendous. So never forget the power of timing, and how many are ready and how many are willing for this. So how many people are actually willing to execute this with you? Is it the majority or the minority, or is it a split? Regardless, you have to be able to accept the fact of the matter is, if you have the timing and the direction dialed in, it all comes down to how passionate you are. You see in very large organizations, they have people who actually just specialize in, I know it sounds quite far-fetched, but what they actually are doing is almost going over the top to present something that they believe is a vision for the organization, but that might not be the case. But because it's delivered so well that it's been bought into to such an extreme, whereas people are just like, we're just going to do it. So you decide on how this is all going to transform your organization, potentially, many other areas of your life as well. Understand the pace of those around you and the pace of what you expect can be different. So understanding that there has to be reasonable time frames, reasonable time schedule increments in pacing these intervals, and everything's able to be executed in a rhythm. Because if it's too hard or too off, people lose interest. See, I've experienced this in other companies that I've ran, and still running, but I'm telling you literally from my own experience, and it's not theory. This isn't theory. This is my actual reality. So take the lessons of this and understand that there has to be a rhythm, has to be a pace, because people like to see smart decisions made, but in a timely manner, and there's movement and there's execution going forward, okay? Never lead with a large margin. Lead with only a step ahead, still holding on to the vision that carries through the vision of the destination. So when you're leading, don't be, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that, we're going to move here, we're going to move there, and we got all of this all together, and we're just going to push it through. It's never going to happen like that. You got to be like, okay, we're here. Now we're going in this direction. We're making these changes. We're adapting to those environmental, could be anything. Could be opportunities, could be threats. It could even be things that environmentally were not even accessible 6 months ago, but now they are. So understanding all of these things that are always moving, unknown variables, but also letting your vision carry on through to that destination that you so long for. See? So you got to look ahead, never forgetting what the big picture is. When you're only stepping ahead, one step ahead or two steps ahead, you cannot be ahead by a long shot. It's never going to happen. You have to be able to look ahead, but never forget what the big picture is. You see, leading effectively will never offer the easy road, since the purpose and the why of what is to achieve is the focus, not the operations of the how to do. So in reality is the goal is to take whatever is happening here in this current state, and you're actually not able to achieve what potentially your competitors are. It's because you might be too micro-focused in the how the processes and procedures are supposed to be executed, versus let's just plow on through, get what we need to get done, and let's just start executing and start moving forward, and just moving forward in a direction that allows us to continue to progress in accepting all of these other challenges or hurdles or obstacles that we're faced with, but still to be able to deal with them in a manner that you're able to collaboratively and passionately almost create like a bond within that type of organization or department, so that you're able to actually have mutual understandings, putting your own personal bias aside and allowing you to focus on the next phase that's about to roll out. You want to know why? Because never taking for granted that it takes a dream with a vision, even going to the extent of, in some cases, accepting this as a purpose in one's life, in some cases, can make the world of a difference. You see, you just don't ever want to take that for granted. And that's when you really start to see these great things happen. Why? Because you see people that have taken a dream or a vision, and next thing you know, they said, this is my why, this is my purpose. And they push it through in such an extent that they're like, we got to do this. And they're like, going for it, just gunning for it, like, you're like, wow, like I never seen this side of this person before, but this is amazing. That's why, okay? Because they've actually accepted as not just a vision, or they're, another phase of, okay, well, we're going to do this. And they actually turn it into their life's purpose. You see, so how can someone who is caught in the middle of the operations and the procedures, and this is really difficult, because if you have someone that's in a role where they're supposed to be leading, but they're caught in the how-to-dos and the step-by-steps, and they're just, right here in front of my face, I only can see right here, and they're like, what's going on? This is what's called managing and not leading. And then the detriment is to the front and center of the operations. It's just it's a disaster. So you have to lead with purpose. You have to lead with passion. You have to accept maybe some things that you don't want to accept, that are beyond your control. It is what it is, but we're going to do what we got to do. And you just figure it out. People that for some strange reason are able to get paid to these higher income levels, they're not paid to perform a task. They're paid to solve a problem and have a vision. You see? So when you're able to get beyond this, that's when things really start to happen. So next week, the impact of a vision with leadership, part 4. And hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to accept and a little bit easier to understand in the cases where it's like, okay, like I can just hold on to my seat and just rock this next, whatever it might be that you're going through, with a little bit more encouragement. Okay. So we're going to be back 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern time. So until next time, work hard, stay humble.